This is a special meeting of the Ely City Council. It's now time to come to order, and the clerk will read the notice.
A special meeting has been scheduled for Thursday, June 25th at 7 p.m. in the City Council Chambers, 470 East Market Street, Alliance, Ohio. Subject of the meeting is to further discuss Ordinance 2115, which is an ordinance amending Alliance Codified Ordinance Section 734, large parties, gatherings, or events and criminal activity nuisances, as well as any other business may properly come before council. This was published in the Alliance Review on June 22nd, 2015, distributed to the various media outlets, including the Alliance Review, WDPN, repository, posted on the city bulletin boards, disseminated to the city council members, council president, as well as members of the administration, including the mayor, city service director, law director, and auditor.
Thank you. Could the clerk call the roll, please?
Cherry.
Here.
Doherty.
Here.
Jacobides.
Here.
King.
Here.
Klein. Here. Rome.
Here.
White.
Here.
All are present. And I would also note for the record, I received communication from President Oki indicating he was out of town on business, asking Ms. Ryan to serve as President Pro Tem tonight.
Madam
Mr.
President,
Doherty.
for the record, we elected you president. So it's nice that he would like to nominate you for that position, but
My meeting was to sit in the president's chair.
okay. Just so you know, if he's not here, that is your chair. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, is that your hand? I need my very cast.
Well, I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam President. I want to give council a short chronology and have a couple documents given to you so that you have the information. The law director and I, in discussion of this, decided, and she requested that I call a special meeting to address this week in regards to Ordinance 21-15. The chronology, with my understanding, is as follows. After the meeting on the June 15th regular meeting of council, the president issued a statement to the press and wrote on the 5th page of 5 a statement, which will be passed out to you now, indicating he would not sign that document. The Safety Service Director is going to submit that document to you so that we can go in the record. My recollection it was at the time, and in discussions with the Safety Service Director, there's a specific Ohio Revised Code covering this signature and attesting to the occurrence of this being passed at council. My further understanding is that the president then requested an opinion of the law director regarding the Ohio Revised Code 731.20. The law director and the president of council exchanged emails regarding this issue, and then on June 18th, the clerk's office received another document, which the Safety Service Director will pass out now, called Authentication of 21-15, and also I would like to ask this be added to the journal.
Absolutely.
The issue that is at hand is this is the ordinance that this council passes a legal document, and the law director came to the conclusion she could not sign that as to legal form. I would yield now to the law director with Madam President's permission and the permission of council.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam Law Director.
Thank you. I was just letting Mr. Gray through.
For some reason, you take it.
Thank you. Thank you.
The tape's pulled out.
Well, maybe one of the members of the media can't.
It Lavender tomorrow.
Yes.
So if
There
you,
another tape down there. I will be an actor in the court, so he can't call me.
oh boy, I'm gonna hide then.
Okay, let's try that. Okay. Records back on the manual record.
Thank you, sir.
And I will continue to.
No, that's all right.
I got nothing.
Thank you, sir.
All right, as Mayor told you, I requested that he call this meeting because only he, or at least I believed he could call this meeting tonight. As you've heard, 73120 requires that the president affix his signature affix his signature for authentication. My problem with the document, the first document that you got, is that he wrote additional matters on that, which are legal conclusions, and that I believe that I cannot sign that it conforms to legal form. And so that was the first problem that I encountered. The problem with the emails that went back and forth between Council President and I is that I was unaware that he had written that information on there when he asked for my legal opinion. I told him, I knew at the time that he was refusing or claiming that he was refusing to sign. And so I told him I believed he had an affirmative duty to sign and that I would accept nothing less of his signature because the ordinance was passed and it was passed in an open meeting and there was no reason for him not to authenticate that the procedure was followed. So thereafter, I learned that he had written on the ordinance. I then received the second document, which you have, which is from June 18th, which also has legal conclusions on it, but it also talks about things that bear onto the clerk's responsibility. Sorry. I said clerk and it went bad.
Something about this tape recorder.
I'm sorry? Oh, you're not talking to me.
Digital recording, and how timely it might be when we move to the next session.
It's probably tired. We had a jury trial today. It was on double day.
But
So it's your fault.
It's my fault. Yeah, that's all right.
I knew what it did.
Well, I would state, I know from discussions with Judge Laver, or Judge Lombard, we were in the works of replacing the audio system in here. However, it's.
Do you want this? That seems like it would be a more appropriate.
The best thing in the world.
Well, it's a more appropriate vehicle. It does have a soft tip on it.
Here's the back of the corner.
I'll let you know where it is. No, so that's. What?
Here's the back of the quarter and the second quarter. You get in there.
I don't know if he. I used to, but.
Is it just one side or is it both sides? No, I mean one side.
Today, that number two.
I don't want to mess up the sound.
Oh, okay.
And if it's in the problem, it's all we get.
Yes? No. It's not recording?
So if you do that, you can check.
I'm one of the lawyers.
No, let.
We got a great video camera in. It's ours. We got much better.
I don't want to mess up his.
came to another issue with the June 18th. I'm sorry, I just kept running. There's a section.
Or not. Go ahead.
Just stay there, okay?
I'm not.
Maybe that'll help. All right. So which is 14940, which indicates that you only need to make necessary records. Because now I have a potential, or we have a potential ordinance with an additional page with signature with extraneous information on it. So what I'm trying to do is solve this problem. And what I'm trying to do is solve this problem easily and quickly and short of litigation. So well, there's two ways you can go here. I have a suggestion, both are legal, but really it's your determination as counsel to do what you see fit. Okay. The easiest would be to make a motion to substitute a green page.
This is the official recording device. You do have a bigger minutes.
Can I make a motion to substitute the official recording device for today?
Because we would like to be home sometime.
Exactly. Unfortunately, your minutes are your official record. So this is secondary, but if you have a request for it, you can't provide it, and we have no reason to want it.
Well,
But if we can obtain the video, we can provide the
It's
video.
still not your official record. If somebody files a public records request asking for it, you may have a problem.
well, I kind of think we're going to have a problem no matter what, the way the system is working.
You're right, you probably are.
You can't get into the other day
The only thing you can do is proceed, and we use the minutes. I'll keep trying to make it work, but I'm not going to guarantee you're going to have it recorded.
Can we get a legal opinion on that?
Well, he's right, it's not a public record. It might be the next best thing, this is the public record, that they are not a public body. So we can't, I mean, it would be the next best thing, but Jerry is right, it's optimal to have that. So I would like him to do his best to keep on that. But, you know, there is an impossibility factor. If it's impossible, then we'll just do the best we can.
I want to be able to see the top of that.
Okay, so I'm going to keep trying, Jerry.
Keep trying,
You
and
just
I will keep.
give me the high sign if I need to stop. Okay, first thing you could do is you could make a motion to substitute the clean page, the ordinance, so that it will comply with legal form so that it can move forward. All right, the problem with it is that it has legal opinions on it, first being that it's unconstitutional. I believe that's the word he wrote. And I cannot sign that it conforms to legal form if it's got the word unconstitutional on it. I just can't do that. You've already voted it. It's already been through the record. It's been through open meeting. You are not required to re-vote on the ordinance. But I was asked, and you could also bring it forward for reconsideration pursuant to your council rules if that's what you choose to do. I'm telling you, you can do either, but the decision will be up to you. I am doing my best here so that this council does not have to file a mandamus action against its current council president in order to force him to sign this ordinance. And that's what I would like to happen, because I don't think it's a good idea for council and their council president to be fighting in court. We've been through that before, and it just does not bear well for the city and our image, and frankly, it's just, it's not good for anyone. So that's why I asked the mayor to call this meeting so that we can get this finished and so that we can move on. If you have any questions, or if you want to discuss that with me, or if you want to discuss amongst yourselves, I will yield to the President Pro Tem.
Mr. Doria.
Thank you. You said we have an extra page. How is this page now a matter of council record?
Well,
Since we just saw it today.
sorry, it's not a matter of council record until it was introduced into the journal. but it was a matter of public record. If I accepted that that complied with his duty under 73120, then it would become part of the ordinance. And that's why I do not believe that I can accept that, because it has, I mean, he's just supposed to say it's either authenticated or it's not via his signature. And he's done additional things which I do not believe he can do. And so that's why I'm just trying to clean this up so that we can move on.
Madam President, I need to ask a question. When you said he added additional, this here form here, it just only says what took place on council that night. It was a 42. It was indicated by my signature, President of the City Council, and the presiding officer, which indicated shall not be deemed a personal ratification by the undersigned of the substance of constitutionality of such ordinance. Is he saying that I'm signing it because I'm the president of council?
He's saying
it needs
that
to be attached to the actual ordinance that was passed that day?
I
Is
believe,
this what this is?
I believe, my understanding is, and I think this is an answer to your question, I believe he submitted that to be attached in lieu of him signing the ordinance. I believe that's why he submitted it. He has not contacted me directly since I gave him the legal opinion. Now, I've been included in some mass emails, but I have not, he contacted me directly for my opinion, and then, you know, that was what he responded with.
Okay, well, this is a vindication letter here signed June 18th from President of Council. You would not accept that to be attached to the orders that we passed that evening?
I will not.
On what grounds?
Well, first of all, I can't accept that paper that says that this is unconstitutional.
He says it violates the Constitution, so is that the same as unconstitutional?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
It's just a play of words, I
this-
just want to make sure.
It is semantics, but yes, to me that says I'm saying this is unconstitutional.
Okay.
And I do not
I just
believe,
need to find out where the grounds is, where you stand on what he wrote and not to attach this to that to supersede what he
Yes.
thinks.
yes, yes.
Okay.
It's not, his duty is not to express an opinion about it. He's obviously expressed his opinion. I don't think anyone could argue about his position on the ordinance, but this was not the place for it. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe that's the simplest.
He could have left it blank and then went into this here and been done, and then you had to deal with him on another aspect of the law.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hayes, could you give your legal opinion on why this ordinance 2115 is in fact constitutional?
Well, in chapter 700, and I really don't want to get too far into that, but in chapter 700, there are specific duties or some specific powers that are enumerated for a municipal corporation, and I have those printed out there in the back of my packet here. But I did some case law research, and I found no problem, and I believe it's in the powers that are enumerated, I cannot say that word today, in chapter 7. So,
And in response to his argument in his statement to the press that this was violating due process rights of citizens or residents or whomever, how would you respond to that?
well, there's an appeal provision in it. So, I mean, that automatically deals with that. Moreover, I found it very interesting that he had issue with this ordinance. I mean, we have a tall weeds ordinance that does the very similar thing. We have an alarm ordinance that does a very similar thing. So I found it very interesting that he chose to come out or to discuss this ordinance without discussing those.
So in your legal opinion, there's no issue with the constitutionality of this? Mr. Jordan, you have a question? Oh, Ms. Jerry?
I have a question. Constitutionality of this ordinance, other than the weed, you said the weed ordinance, as far as the other two ordinances, in this specific ordinance here, the other two, you have to go through the court system, are not correct, to actually,
Those are, they're administratively, the tall weeds, since we hear the most about that one. The housing officer, Michelle, I know, I call her Michelle. She sends the letter and then it gets assessed by the city to the taxes. And then you have a 2506 appeal. So this ordinance has an appeal process before you even get to it being assessed to your taxes. So that's why, you know, I would have been surprised that the tall weeds ordinance wouldn't have been discussed as an issue prior to this one.
Just
Not that
like-
I'm asking someone to, by the way, but,
No,
okay.
but I'm saying, just like conversation that you hear on the streets of people asking why. The question is, I can understand the housing code officer because of the weeds, that's evident. But then with the landlord and the tenant, they're looking at why not the tenant and let the landlord know what's going on. But then they saying, we have to go before the chief of police for actual adjudication. Where do we get that appeal? Do we go through the court system? Do we have to go back through an appeal session with the police department?
There's a citizen review that's already in our codes, and that is the appeal.
Is that information within, is really not here, they would have to know that information, correct?
No, that's directly in the ordinance, ma'am. It's right there.
Well, I think that was the misconstrued of a lot of people, and the reason why we getting so much flack on this ordinance.
And I understand, I hear you, but not one came to me with that. So,
No.
I know they don't, they come to you, I get it.
No, you'll understand, it's just over the years, people are not coming back to the administration where they should come to get their answers. They just take what they see and run with it there.
I can't help if they misunderstand, and I'm not sure what I can do about that.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Randall.
Mr. Jordan?
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I think we're talking about two separate things. First of all, with regard to ordinance 2120, we had multiple public meeting discussions where all these answers were given. We can't make people listen if they choose not to or they're not able to, but these provisions are there. In addition to what the law director said, this ordinance design is in existence in many, many communities in Ohio. And because we didn't reinvent the wheel and bring it here for the first time, this has been all over the place. It's been in the courts before in other communities. There's nothing unconstitutional about the ordinance. The ordinance was my idea because it's successful, and I know that there are neighborhoods that are held captive by a singular house. And there's been an awful lot of things overblown about this ordinance. But what we're here for is as everybody knows, the ordinance was passed. It wasn't passed unanimously, and there are times when we don't all agree. But that doesn't mean, since we don't agree, that one of us is being against the Constitution of the United States of America. And I take grave offense to Mr. Oakey saying that he can't sign it because it is a constitutional violation, because that's a direct accusation that Pro Tem tonight, Councilperson Ryan, Councilperson Rome, Councilperson Jack Bees, and I all violated the Constitution by doing this. And even if it is a violation of the Constitution, it's not determined at this meeting. It's determined when somebody is aggrieved by it and they go to court. That's when constitutionality is clearly defined.
I understand, but then you're talking to the wrong pew sitter. Mr. Obi's not here.
Well, no, but I'm just trying to say, what I'd like to do, instead of being here all night, is figure out, we passed the ordinance, it's law, although it's been clearly defaced, clearly. Whether you agree with what he wrote or you don't agree with what he wrote, he could have wrote, flowers and lyrics to a song on it, it doesn't matter, it's defaced. He was wrong in doing that, it's unprecedented what he did. He did it knowing that meeting he was going to do it. He sat up there and listened to us all talk and knew he was going to throw this thing out there at the end. And then he's not here tonight to talk about it. So who should? I can't talk to an empty chair. To me, I don't know if a better word, maybe cowardice. He didn't bring it up at that meeting. He's not here to defend why he did it. I think it's a showboating action on his part. I think we need to fix it. I think we need to move on.
I understand, but if I'm correct, Madam Pro Tem, I think he's working today. And I'm not only defending him on that aspect of it, other than you saying, oh, he's not here to defend. I do believe he told you that. We all got the email that he's working, he wouldn't be here tonight.
Well,
That's the only thing I'm defending.
If
So
you're
therefore, you
defending
can-
an allegation of a city council being unconstitutional, don't you think we should be here to make your argument?
I can't say that. You've been absent from council because of your job, so therefore,
No.
we're gonna leave that alone. Like I said, the man's not here to defend,
I don't know
and I'm
what you
just here.
responded.
Right, all right, we're getting off track here. Ms. Jackman,
According to Council Rule 6.09, as a member who voted on the prevailing side of Ordinance 2115, I move for the reconsideration of the ordinance.
is there a second? No second?
What did you ask for?
Reconsideration, to vote again.
Outside of that.
Okay, Mr. Klein, I believe you were absent when we voted on this.
I'd just like to have a copy of the ordinance, because I never got a copy. The only thing I have is on my computer at home and not here. I never got a hard copy in my packet. So I have a problem with discussing this when I don't really know what's in it.
You didn't get it in your email,
No, I got an email.
but it didn't have the full text of the ordinance?
Oh, it was on my computer, yes, I read the first couple pages, and then that's it. I've not read the complete ordinance, so I have a hard time discussing it.
That's
We
the
had
only
this
girl.
ordinance, we presented it on May 4th.
Then why do you want to vote on it?
And then it went to committee. So,
was disseminated in packets.
I never received a hard copy.
right, so,
But if you did, why do you want to re-vote it? If you never read it, why do you want to vote on it tonight?
Because I'd like to see what's in it.
But you're not going to see it if you vote on it. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
okay. Okay, I need to stop this now. I think there's a little lapse in order.
May I sit?
Yes, you may, you're probably getting tired.
Well, I just started.
Okay, all right. Let's, everybody just kind of take a second. Okay, Ms. Jackman,
Can I explain my reason for making a motion for reconsideration?
yes, please.
I think that at our previous meeting, this body was tainted by the actions of our council president. You know, we also had a member who was absent who didn't get to express his opinion either in favor or against this ordinance. I think that's another reason for reconsideration. Tonight, we have a presiding officer who will lawfully discharge the duties that she assumes when she takes that seat, rather than the testimonial that was written on the ordinance before. And I think that reconsidering this ordinance, voting on it either up or down, and having it signed tonight by the people that can do that job without question, without showboating, will put this to rest. No more headlines, no more arguing. We can vote on it, put it to rest, and move on. That is my reason for reconsideration, and I renew my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Jackman. Is there a second? Well, there's no second, so the motion must be rescinded. It dies for lack of a second. Thank you. Well, okay. I would like to ask, yes, I was going to ask Ms. Arnold.
Thank you. I gave them another option, which was to substitute the page. So those were the two options that I gave, just to refresh your recollection, because I feel like that's what you wanted from me.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there a motion to substitute the page, Mr. Jordio?
Yes, given that this is an ordinance that already had a tremendous amount of discussion and a vote, and the last page and a subsequent page of interest is accompanying the last page now, I would like to make a motion to remove and set aside the page 5 of ordinance 2115 that has been defaced, and the accompanying document that somehow goes along with the defacing of page 5.
Is there a second? Moved by Mr. Doria, second by Mr. Rome. Yes,
I thought we
is there
had a motion
discussion?
prior to that on the floor.
Excuse me? Mr. Klein, excuse me.
I thought we had a motion, Julie and I seconded it on the floor.
That, okay.
The rules do not require that the second be by someone who was on the prevailing side. It only says that the motion must be made by someone on the prevailing side.
oh, okay, thank you. I understand. Okay. Okay, Law Director, we need you again.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the first motion that Ms. Jackmedes made, seconded by Mr. Klein.
I will read your rule to you.
Okay.
All right. Reconsideration. Any member who is absent or voted with the prevailing side may move for reconsideration of the action of council, accepting a measure which shall go into immediate effect. Such motion for reconsideration shall be made not later than the next regular meeting after the action in which it relates was taken. No motion to reconsider shall be made more than once on any measure, and such motion shall require a majority of all members elected to council in order to prevail. I believe that I will agree with Ms. Jackmedes because the first thing says any member who was absent or voted with the prevailing side, and so since he was absent, he would be able to make the motion. So I believe that he can second her motion. So upon reading the rule, which now everyone has in the record, I believe that her motion needs to be voted upon.
Okay, my apologies, Mr. Klein.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I had that wrong. And we will, Mr. Doherty, would you withdraw your previous motion?
Yes, I was not aware that that motion was still ongoing, so I will withdraw
Thank
one
you,
that I did.
thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Motion by Ms. Jackmedes, second by Mr. Klein to reconsider ordinance 2115. Is there any discussion, Mr. Doria?
Yeah, and I'll be honest with everybody, I don't have a big preference over whether we replace it with another vote tonight, or whether we replace the defective pages on the current ordinance. I like the proposer of this motion would like to move on. We wrote a law, and the law was intended to help people who don't often have a voice of their own, and you know, it's taken wings, so to speak, based on things that I think were designed only for political purposes, and it's very disappointing that they're in that position. So, in addition to withdrawing my motion, I think I'm going to vote in favor of Ms. Jackmedes' motion, because we're going to be here for hours. Obviously, there's some support for what the council president did, which is shocking to me here, but I don't want to argue about it. And with that, I'm done. Thank you.
Ms. Jackmedes?
I just want to make it clear that I am not at all asking anyone to change their vote or necessarily to reconsider their support or lack of support for this ordinance. I just want a clean slate. If we vote tonight, we have a new vote that is without question. We have documents that are not questioned. We can move on. That is my sole reason for motioning for reconsideration tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Chair?
Madam President, I just want to direct this to the law director. Regardless of how Mr. Oakley, the president, did or did not do. And he's saying, yes, this is a law that was passed. It is on our books. But just as history is legal documents, I, myself, regardless of how anybody on this council votes, all of this here is still legal documents to let you know what took place in our city council, and it does reflect not only our council people, but his actions as the president of council. So that's why I was in favor of page 5 and page 5A, because this did take place. You don't clean the slate and redo the law. You let it go down in history just like it went, because it is what it is, regardless how we feel as council members.
If I can answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I wasn't suggesting that we destroy this
No,
page.
no, no.
Okay.
It's not true. I just asked that question.
Okay,
That
fine.
we have 5, then regardless how we feel, that's 5A. Because that's actually how it went.
It's a public record. It will not be destroyed. It is now within the journal of this meeting. So if you thought that I was suggesting that.
I'm not, no.
Okay,
I'm
all right,
asking.
just clarify.
No,
Okay,
it's just
no.
out there. Not suggesting anything to do. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
Mr. Amides?
I realize I'm speaking a lot tonight, but I'm holding in my hands the Ohio Revised Code Section 149.351, which prohibits the destruction or damage of records. Those are not legally good documents because his testimonial on them was an act to destroy or otherwise damage our public records. So I am asking for a clean slate tonight because those are not solid legal documents. Yes, they are part of the record. Yes, they will be maintained, but I do not believe that they're legal. That's all.
Anything else, Ms. Burrows, did you have something?
Yeah, when you're talking clean slate, the reason you're saying that is because now Ms. Ryan will sign it, is that what you're trying to say?
Exactly.
Mr. Jordan?
Thank you. If we don't do something, first of all, as the law director said, she can't sign it. Second of all, I can't imagine being the prosecutor having to assist the police department who's trying to help a neighborhood resolve a chronic problem, and they come and post a document with this Steve Oakey legal declaration written on it. I don't know how somebody would be found guilty of the law that we passed with this on it. And the council president, whether it's pro tem or permanent, appointed or elected, does not have the right to overturn the will of council. And so something absolutely has to be done, or we set a precedent here that allows that chair a super veto power over any action that this council takes. We cannot have, it's unprecedented here, it's wrong, and it needs to be fixed. So, nor did, and I had never proposed destruction of a record. It was a replacement motion that I was making that I had to withdraw because we had another motion on the table. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? I assume you're ready to vote. Mark, can you repeat what?
The motion is a motion to reconsider ordinance 2115.
Okay. All those in favor of, we're going to do a roll call vote, excuse me. Considering reconsideration of ordinance 2115. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Chair.
No?
Doherty.
Yes.
Jacobides.
Yes.
King.
No.
Klein.
No.
Rome.
Yes.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Is she supposed to, did she break the tie?
Yes.
No, because she's a voting member.
I give it, yeah.
She gets one vote, but she gets that vote anyway. So, there's 7, so it's not a tie. We've got 1, 2, 3,
So 4 and 3.
4 and 3. So it does pass 4 and 3.
Votes
Let's stop
for-
thinking.
It's crazy.
Votes 4 and 3, that motion passes.
Now you can call the question.
Excuse me, I'm not saying Steve was
Okay.
right. I have my own
Okay,
personal
thank
opinion.
you.
It's not about
Okay,
Steve.
He's the one.
Okay, the question has been,
It's not about Steve Ocean for me.
excuse me, Ms. Sherry, were you, oh, did you have, no?
It was just a
Oh,
conversation
you're
between me
fine.
and Larry.
Okay, okay, the motion to reconsider ordinance 2115 has passed, and we now need a motion to bring 2115 to the floor. Mr. Meeks.
Move to adopt ordinance 21-15.
Do we have to add
Second.
No, just,
Oh, Okay, moved by Ms. Jackinides and seconded by Mr. Doria to adopt ordinance 2115. Is there any discussion? Okay, ready to vote? Okay, we will do a roll call on this one as well.
Chair.
No.
Doherty.
Yes?
Jackinides.
Yes.
Klein, or, excuse me, King.
No.
Klein.
No.
Rome.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Again, for deliberation.
Okay, ordinance 2115 is adopted. Okay, is there any other business to come before this body? Oh, Mr. Doria.
Yes, Madam President,
Yes, sir.
when Mr. Oki decided to do this, he cast a shadow over this ordinance permanently. And it really shouldn't matter to anybody on council floor whether they were for the ordinance or against the ordinance. But we shouldn't have an ordinance that we created, either in a bipartisan or partisan fashion or some hybrid of that can't be enforced. And we can't have an ordinance, we can't have an action by a council president that weakened the will of council or intimidated the will of council, that brought us to a special meeting just to discuss this. We didn't come to discuss an ordinance. We came to discuss the defacing of the signature page that was done by Council President Oki. And from what I've learned, he intended to do this at the beginning of the meeting. He didn't share that with us. Could have saved us a tremendous amount of time. We could have had a good discussion about this on floor before we passed it if he'd have given us the opportunity. And you know, we've all been here before. The previous council president, who he's replacing, was allowed to offer commentary to us, to give us facts of history, facts of his wisdom, his experience, as has Steve Oki been allowed. I do not think that council should just accept his behavior, setting a precedent for future, I would say, misdeeds by the president. So I'm going to make a motion that we censure the council president for the act of defacing the ordinance that was duly passed by law and forcing us to come back, debate, disagree, and be here tonight.
Second.
Okay, moved and second to censure the president for defacing a public document.
Well, not what you see there right now.
No, excuse me, the president of council, not president pro tem. Is there any discussion? Mr. Klein?
Wasn't the president of council censored some time back?
About a year ago, just a year ago.
Possibly be the reason that maybe he didn't speak up because he's already been censored? Now, Mr. Benincastle was never censored, and he offered his opinion on almost all the ordinances that we had discussions on. Sometimes I think, as far as I feel, his opinion wasn't really valued as far as I was concerned. Sometimes it was a great value, but sometimes it wasn't. Now we've got a council president who's been censored. Are we going to let him speak his opinion, or are we not?
I'm going
To
to vacate my chair for a
To
second.
me, I give Mr. Oki the benefit of the doubt.
Excuse me. I'm going to vacate my chair for a second.
Somebody else has to vote.
Someone who's next in line, Mr.
I
Doria.
move to appoint Councilman Doria as the acting president.
I decided early where I should be, but,
You need to vote on it?
I second.
okay, all in favor of having Mr. Doria assume the presiding chair, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I really, I shouldn't be standing on on this, okay. When all right, 10 years ago, or about that, 9, 10 years ago, when first came to council, there was very obviously political tension, constant in our council meetings. Somewhere along, and I spoke up at one of the meetings and said that that this was unwarranted, unnecessary, but everything was turning into a political battle. No matter how minor, it was a political battle. And we couldn't get things done, whatever, and it got to be to the point where whatever the Democrats wanted wasn't going to happen. You know, there was just, but anyway, it lasted for a few years. Suddenly things got better. You do your own deductions on that one, why things got better, but they did. This was a purely political act on Mr. Oakey's part. He knew what he was doing. If he had serious doubts about the constitutionality or the propriety of this ordinance, he had ample opportunity to come to the meetings that were held right before council meetings and address them. Last week, when we voted on the ordinance, there was a meeting immediately preceding the council meeting. He was not there in the capacity of the president. He could very easily have spoken up and told us what his concerns were. If they were valid constitutional reasons, I believe he was ethically bound as a member of the bar to bring those to light. However, he did not. He chose to make it a political game. After the meeting, when he made his comments, and he was asked by the press for a statement, within minutes he had a researched, well-written, well-thought-out statement prepared. So this was planned, this was not spontaneous, and this was definitely political. Whatever the political motivation was, I don't know, but that's what it was. That's the way I see it. And I felt that I really needed to bring this out, to say this tonight, because it needed to be said. And any of the dissension or any that might be taking place now, I think it was deliberately manipulated for that very reason. So anyway, Mr. Doherty, I am finished with my...
Can we have a motion to restore Councilman Ryan to the President's chair, please?
So moved.
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you put first and second?
Oh,
Yes.
and by the way, Mr. Benacasa did give us his opinions, but not as in his capacity as president. He would tell us, he would speak with us privately, or he would remove himself from the chair. Okay, you're welcome, thank you. Okay, sorry about that. Now, we're on the discussion. We have a motion on the floor, and we are in the discussion phase. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Doherty?
Can I just add one thing? If Jen Arnold had done the same thing, I would make the same motion. If this is not about whether you're an R or a D, this is about a process that we have that works and it's supposed to be done the same way once council makes a decision. And to have it stray this far without council saying that's not right would be equally wrong in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to censure the appointed president of council for facing a public document. Is that ready to vote? To roll call this one? All right. Clerk will call the roll.
Chair.
Abstain, no. then it's
She
enough.
has to be excused to abstain, Madam President.
Okay. So,
Did you say no?
no, okay.
Doherty.
Yes.
Jack Deans.
Yes.
King.
No.
Klein.
Yes.
Rome.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Passes 5-2.
Okay, is there anything further this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.